All right, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. It's your good friend Pozzible here, and I'm here with Joe.
How's it going?
And Bucky.
Hello.
And today we're getting back to something I started off, never really continued on, but we're talking about the Mindless Musings. And this is actually a fun thing because, you know, when you do a review, you got to have restraints. You can't give away too much information. You don't want to ruin the movie for people. But here at Mindless Musings on the Pozzible Show, we get to say whatever we want. No fact checks, no history checks, no double checking. We just speak our mind about the topic at hand. Today's topic: Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which I finally saw just last week. And these guys were kind of upset because when we met on Saturday, I hadn't seen it yet. But we never got to talk about it.
Well, of course not. We couldn't reveal too much. You hadn't seen it yet.
Exactly. But now...
I wanted to.
But I already put up my review at PozzibleMovieReviews.com. Bucky, you have your own review up.
Yeah, you can find it on Unleash the Robots.
Mm-hmm. So now that the reviews are up, let's get to some of the information. Yes, spoilers are ahead, so you have been warned. This is basically for for people who have seen the show, which if you look at the numbers, everyone has already seen Captain America, Winter Soldier almost. Pretty much, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Well, I don't even go to the movies that often. Even I went and saw this one. I saw it opening weekend.
Yeah.
So
I think it's considered the #1 movie in the world.
Yeah. This was one of my movies I was waiting for.
And it was well worth the wait. They did an awesome job.
Yes.
I was a little worried. I never found Captain America very interesting. You know, he's kind of hard to describe. Kind of a little bit uppity. You know, he definitely wants things done his way, but he definitely believes in freedom. Definitely believes in the old American dream. You know, because that's where he's from. That's all he understands. He never dealt with anything else. During this time, S.H.I.E.L.D. has something that really puts that all at risk now. You know, those individual helicarriers.
Right.
Smaller helicarriers which can be anywhere and go anywhere. And
they were done with Stark technology, right? With the repulsor lifts.
Right. Well, you know, it's so funny. It's like he said, they got some other ideas from Stark. And, of course, in the first Avengers... Stark, you know, they damaged one of the rotator, the rotors, and so he went to go fix it. But while he was there fixing it, apparently he was also examining it, saying, "Gosh, you can improve this here, you can improve that there," because that's the way Stark works. Now, did you notice Stark in this movie? No, we never saw Tony Stark himself.
We saw a picture of his dad.
We saw his dad. That's one. What else? There is a mention of Tony Stark, and you see the full name in print somewhere. Someplace pretty exciting.
I don't remember.
The women's room?
No.
Oh.
The gunships. Remember when they were listing out all the people who were a threat to freedom and everything?
Ah, that's right.
They were going to take care of it. They were going to shoot him. I wonder how that really would have worked out, you know? Like, if let's say the gunships did go. And they started shooting at Iron Man.
From what I remember is that I was busy focusing on some of the other names that they mentioned.
Who? Yes, please.
I don't remember who they were. I just remember, like, I could have sworn I remember seeing Stephen Strange.
They mentioned him a few times. Yes.
I can't remember any specifics. I just remember that during that scene where they had targets, there were quite a few Easter eggs.
Right.
That we call them.
You know what was really sad about this, though? The one thing that really got me about this movie, it's not who's there, it's who can't be there yet. Because the licensing is still with other people. Peter Parker, you know, they're in New York, but they can't do anything with Spider-Man because, and I'm not saying you're going to, you know, have a cameo or something, put him in a newspaper or something, but you can't even do that due to rights and stuff.
Oh yeah, I know.
Plus, it kind of distracts from the story. I'm not going to deny that. The other thing is Fantastic Four. There's no Reed Richards yet, and but then again, they're rebooting the story, so I guess they want to start till it, you know, goes forward. But I said this once, and I'm going to say it again. This will be it won't be the last time I say it, guys. I'm sorry. I want everyone to come home. You know, bring back Daredevil, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. Who else?
She-Hulk.
No, I think she's still under Marvel's umbrella. Yeah, nobody took her.
Well, it's one of those things where I was going somewhere with this thought, and I thought, never mind.
Okay. No, that's okay. You know, Captain America Winter Soldier, I was looking forward to the great reveal. I thought it was pretty impressive. I was hoping my family got more of it because they don't know anything. But that the Winter Soldier is Bucky, his old friend. That was pretty interesting because I was very curious to see how Bucky was going to react. His reaction was actually not what I expected at all. Because what was his one question?
Who the hell is Bucky?
Yeah, who's Bucky? Yeah, he's like, Bucky, you're alive. It's like, who's Bucky? And it's amazing that he had such power physically, but mentally he really lacked in the. He knew his mission, and that's all he was programmed for. That's all he cared about. They freeze him when they don't need him, and they thaw him out when it's time for him to do missions. And did you notice who one of the people he killed was?
No.
Howard Stark, Tony Stark's father.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, they flashed by it really fast because all you saw was the shadow gunman thing, and then you saw a picture of Howard Stark just flashed in front of you.
Oh, okay.
So, because that's what they were doing. They were trying to sneak in Hydra under S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Right.
And someone as smart as Howard Stark probably would have figured that out.
As one of those things is that this movie came out in a way concurrently with TV's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Something I'm not watching. So, but here you're allowed to give away everything. Have you caught up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Oh, yes.
So what's happening now? I mean, do they acknowledge this situation?
Oh, yeah. In the show, Hydra is fully infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
To the point where Agent Coulson and his team are pretty much the only people left. Along with Nick Fury.
Right.
Who faked his death. Which, in a way, it's a superhero movie. We should have seen it coming when he died, that he wasn't really dead. But...
I will have to say that's something they got to stop. They need to stop killing somebody in every superhero movie.
But I will say that one aspect of this movie that I loved, and I wish they would have explored it more, is the classic line when Captain America says to Nick Fury is that this isn't freedom, this is fear.
Right, I'm glad you brought that up because it brings us to a real question. Why did Nick Fury bring Captain America to that hangar then?
That's a good question.
See, Nick Fury, I think he was really getting the gist that there was something rotten in S.H.I.E.L.D. That something had gone wrong. That they didn't have the control anymore, and that something evil was really brewing. And I think he brought in Captain America to get a sense of what side is he on? Where does he really stand?
Well, it's more of the thing where I think they brought up in the Avengers too is that Captain America needs to know. Basically, he's given a mission, but he's not given all the information for the mission.
Right.
Whereas Black Widow, basically, she has her own little side missions, and Captain America was offended that he didn't have that information.
Right.
So when you're a soldier, should you get all the information to the entire project, or just what you're supposed to do?
I'm so fascinated you bring that up. That's two different schools of thought. Now, back in the 1940s, World War II and stuff like that, Captain America, that's where he's from. That's what you did. You were taught everything. Because that's how you succeeded in your mission. You left nothing to chance, and the world was at stake.
Right.
So you had to rush it. Now, the other one you brought up in Splinter Cell, the first Splinter Cell. There was that even the people who were involved in the mission, everyone only had pieces of information. They didn't have the whole picture. That way, no one could be in control. If I had my druthers, I would prefer the old method. I would prefer, you want to know as much as possible. You leave yourself open for chance, but knowledge is power. And if you're going to go in a deadly mission with, the world at stake or with something at stake, especially when your life is at stake,
right,
you have to know everything. You really should know everything. That's it. Now, of course, this mirrors what's happening in our society right now, with people revealing things like the NSA spying.
Yeah.
Of course, there's also company profiling. Let's face it. Isn't personal it isn't like, a personal life, a separate personal life, a private life. Isn't that now a myth in our society?
Right.
Because everything's on Facebook.
Right. We live in a day and age where people will actually admit their crimes on Twitter and Facebook if they commit crimes.
Well, what's really interesting also is not just that people are admitting this kind of stuff, but it's how people are using everything. Companies are noticing when you use your credit card, they track that. And they get these third-party companies to say, okay, this is what this person likes. This is what they use again and again.
Right. Have you ever noticed when you're on Facebook how the ads that are on the sides are usually stuff that you might be interested in?
Yeah. So, bad thing, good thing. I mean, if it's stuff you like, is it really bad that they, try to gauge your interest and try to
I understand why
promote
they do
what
it,
you would want to see?
I speak for most of the people when I say it's annoying as hell. We hate ads.
Well, we hate ads, yes.
The only way we'll get rid of them is if we, pay to get rid of the ads, which none of us want to do.
Well, here's my question, okay? Think about it like this. You know how nowadays, I've never played Xbox One. I know nobody here has it. But from what I understand, if you sit in front of your Xbox One, the Xbox One will notice that it's you, okay?
Oh, it tracks you.
Yeah, it tracks you. So, would it be bad if in the future Xbox got money from commercial people by saying, hey, we can gather information on who this person is and what they like, and we can streamline the commercials to what they like? Hulu's supposed to do that. Whenever you watch a show on Hulu, in the upper left-hand corner of the commercial, there's this question of, is this commercial relevant to you? Yes or no? I can click no. Doesn't matter. They still show me the same commercials.
Well, it's like that on Facebook. You'll come across ads that say, what do you think of this ad? Is it misleading? Is it offensive? Is it repetitive? Mm-hmm. And usually I'll just put it's offensive just to hopefully so I can get something different.
Yeah, you never will. Yeah.
But still, it's worth a shot.
So,
because, a lot of the commercials that are on TV nowadays are just so stupid. I won't even get into them now because this is the podcast.
Yeah, that's going to take too long.
Yeah.
So that's level one. Okay, level one, of course, is spying. It's gathering information. And I think we all remember the outcry that came out. Now, this is before our time, believe it or not. The outcry when Richard Nixon was caught spying on the Republican Party.
Okay? He was?
Yes. Videotaping them and everything. That's when all this huge can't trust the government, blah, blah, blah stuff started. And, maybe it's because of shows like the X-Files and that we've been living in this counter, dystopia future stuff, that when people finally learn that, hey, the government is actually spying on you, we don't seem to be as bothered by it as everyone makes it out to be.
Well, there are some people that think that even President Obama is spying on us through our webcams, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
I'm not sure if there's anyone in the present company that would be idiotic enough to think that.
But this is, the one thing I think of when it comes to the government spying, and even corporation spying, is that at that level it doesn't bother me. Okay, but you are now playing with fire. Because that's where it starts, right? It starts with the whole innocent. We're spying to protect. We're not going to interfere. No one's going to get. You never heard of people getting arrested by this information. Heck, when these things when people do get hurt, you're like, hey, where were you then, NSA?
Right?
It's like we planned to kidnap somebody, but the NSA didn't step in and said, hey, we found out about this. Here, check this out. So they never really brought it to the level where they were really, starting to bear down on us, like this was going to do. The ships were going to come in and shoot us if they didn't agree with us. What did you think of the question? Suppose you had a daughter, or the guy he's acting, he actually had a daughter. You have a daughter. What if there was a terrorist who had a gun to her head and in the middle of a stadium full of cameras and about to shoot her, and then one of these ships could come in and shoot that terrorist?
That's an interesting question.
Yes, we all want protection. We all want the security.
Well, it's one of those things. You got to decide what you want more, freedom or protection. That's what it really comes down to.
Why can't we have both? We've had both for a long time.
So let's say the only way that the police can protect you is to monitor what's inside your house 24 hours a day. Exactly.
Exactly. People don't like what they see.
Yeah, they would like what they see. Yeah. Well,
That's my point. But technically, they're protecting you.
Yeah.
They're monitoring you 24/7.
Well, okay.
I'm sure you remember the movie I, Robot and how that turned out.
See, that's the problem, though. I really don't feel like they're protecting us. All they're doing is watching me. Remember?
Well, if something goes wrong, you know they're there.
Well, yeah, but when are they going to come and act? If somebody were to break in my door, how long would it take for the police to actually show up? That's the question. 6 months, yeah, great protection. So basically, we have. So what is protection now? Voyeurism. I'll be honest with you. One thing I've always wanted to film, kind of.
I don't know what
I I would love to get some girls, right? And not like that.
You're doing something wrong, buddy.
No. Think of the old school gossip girls, right? They're doing their nails, but they're talking about, Sally and how this girl's involved in this. Because let's face it, what was the NSA? What was all this invasion of privacy before all this? It was gossip back in the day, when small towns, when everybody knew everybody. But you can imagine the NSA being these gossip girls doing their nails, talking about how somebody's pregnant and it's not really her husband's baby, and they're just, that's what I see. They're just gossip people. Now, you're right. Now, we will always have this struggle, and this struggle has really gotten heated up. The reason the struggle is such a big deal right now is because we're entering a world where technology is more accessible than ever before. And the ability to do damage is more accessible than ever before. Let's face it, last year, Boston Marathon bombing. We don't know what the story's there, but apparently, where was the NSA during that? Were there any clues or anything? But it shows the accessibility. These were just kids.
Yeah, who were able two people, from what I understand.
Yeah, who were just in their own backyard, were able to make this stuff, and so it's more accessible. So that's one level, though. One level is voyeurism, watching. The next level is actively, like bodyguards now. But this is taking it beyond that, because we're talking about actually shooting people from a distance. Not science fiction, though. Because guess what we're doing in Afghanistan and places like that? We are shooting people from a distance with our drones. That's what our drones are doing. So it's so funny that in the movie, of course, they're going to be against it. They're going to stop it. But in the real world, it's happening.
Yeah.
Now, and there are talks about, and of course, the real problem is, drone technology is something that is becoming accessible to everyone now. You can get those drones with the cameras, for propellered helicopters with cameras on them. Okay? What's to stop somebody from putting a crossbow on it? Couldn't be that hard. Spring-loaded projectile?
Probably not. But yeah.
Or if you want to spy on your neighbor.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm looking up here, and guess what I just noticed? That's Bucky's bathroom. We're in his house right now. And there's like a window to your bathroom.
Yeah.
How clear is that window?
Not very.
Well, clean it!
Well, there's stuff in front of the window.
Well, take it off! Take it all off, man.
Please don't. He's wanting to see me in the bathroom.
I did not say that. I was hoping if you
were implying it.
If you get some girl here, then her. No. But the point we're trying to make is, it will.
The point is that we don't really have that much freedom anymore, as far as having not so much freedom, but privacy.
Right.
Privacy. We still got a lot of freedom.
Yeah. Because let's face it, no one's stopping us from doing anything. With all the NSA spying was agreed upon like October, November of 2001, just after the Twin Towers. Okay, that has freaked people out. Now, the real question that comes up from Captain America: Winter Soldier is, yes, this isn't freedom. This is fear.
Exactly.
But let's face it, isn't Nick Fury's job to be the person who is afraid? Isn't his job to be paranoid? As the government as a whole innocent until proven guilty. As an agent on the field, shouldn't it be guilty until proven innocent?
I really don't know, because remember, Captain America came from a different time.
Yes.
One thing that I was hoping that they would explore in this movie is how Captain America would react to seeing an interracial couple, a gay couple, you know? Because back when in the 40s, you didn't see them.
Right.
You know? So I wanted to see his reaction to it, you know? And and I thought that this movie was going to have that, but...
Well, actually, you know what this movie did have? And this is something I found very cool. We're kind of getting a little bit... No, the topic is the movie. The best thing about this movie, okay, was the list. When he was in the beginning of the movie, he's jogging around.
Stuff he has to do.
Yes. Now here's the funny part. He pulls open the list. Guess what they did? And this is the amazing technology we have nowadays. Do you know that list is different
for other countries?
Yes. Did you know that?
I heard about that.
Yes. So when he opens up the list for Americans, what does he have?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Did you notice that Star Wars was crossed out?
Because he saw it already.
Because he saw it. He did. Star Trek was on there too. I Love Lucy was on there. Okay, because that just goes to show how long it's been.
Right.
You know? Now, if you were to watch it in England, you would see things like Stanley Cup, Doctor Who,
Queen Elizabeth,
Sherlock Holmes.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what the British version would be.
And I do believe, like in other countries
Maybe
too.
when they release it on DVD, they can
Oh, I hope they do.
I really.
I would love to see what the other list looked like. That would be awesome.
I thought Doctor Who was also on the American list too.
I don't remember. I didn't see it.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, but bringing up those kind of issues, gosh, it would be interesting because, you know, I guess you gotta wonder which direction you would go. You know, now in the 1940s, interracial couples would have been around, but they would have been that which you do not speak of. You know, kind of like gays back in the 1940s. Gays were the love that dared not speak its name.
Right.
You know, now I would believe that Captain America, being a soldier with all those people under him, you know, he would know that some of his guys were gays. He wouldn't have cared at that time because these are things you don't talk about. You have a war to fight, so you're not worried about a person's sexuality.
Right. I'm just saying. This is a subject that was brought up like after the first movie, so I was kind of curious. You know, it would be interesting. I'm not saying that they necessarily should do this in a movie, but I'm saying for me personally, I would like to see how he reacts to, you know. Remember, it's been 70 years. You know.
Well, also, you know, just in general, the outfits, because you see the flashbacks. And, you know, he's dressed in that, you know, suit and tie. Now, I think they also came back from a funeral. But people were very still professionally dressed, or at least, you know, even casually they were dressed. In Avengers movie, cartoon, The Ultimate Avengers, okay, they do have a moment where Captain America is walking around and he sees the punk rockers. Okay, he sees the mohawks, he sees the bling, and the, you know, piercings everywhere. Thank you. And all he did was kind of just shrug that off. He was in a bad mood anyway, but he didn't want to. He wasn't going to comment or anything, and that's all they got of it. You know, it's just a shrug. You know, because that was him dealing with modern world. Even though that was made a few years ago, that was modern world 1980s. You know, a little outdated there, but it would be. I don't know. I guess. The problem is that it's the question of which way should you really go, you know?
I would more side with Captain America as opposed to Nick Fury. I think.
Oh no! I mean, in terms of, I'm sorry. I was saying that in terms of, let's say he came up with the issue of interracial marriage was something that he should be familiar with already, so he should, you know, easily side for.
Okay.
But I mean, you know, actually, to be honest, I think it would be interesting if he sided against those things. You know, just as a frame of reference, you know, of saying that, you know, gosh, this really isn't the way I was brought up. Type of thing,
right. I mean, he's from the 40s, so I can kind of see it going either way.
Right.
No pun intended. But,
yeah. I guess because ultimately the expectation is that he would go for it, but just
because he's all about freedom.
Right. But just as a frame of reference, just to give him some more variety and to remind us that he was from the 1940s, because it is the people
Like I
from
said,
the 1940s who are against gay
like
marriage.
I can see that argument going both ways. That's why I'm curious to see how a movie would. Well, of course, I'm thinking by today's standards. Mm-hmm. In the movie, they would probably have him be for it.
Right, that's the thing. You know,
and it's like the way the movie's written, I could probably see him being for it. I could see Nick Fury being for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Nick Fury, obviously, Actually, Nick
Why
Fury...
obviously?
Well, I mean, because that's the way you go with movies. It's a movie. You can't... if you have a quote-unquote hero, he can't be against gay marriage. That's just a rule. You can't... and that's why I'm saying, in Hollywood and in movies, there's been so much support that for variety's sake, it would be interesting. Now, just so you guys know, we are not commenting on our personal beliefs about gay marriage, okay? We're just saying that in general, as a form of variety, it would be interesting to see someone go back towards being against gay marriage, okay? And being a hero. And being a good guy. Because usually if you're against gay marriage, now you have to be portrayed as a jerk, judgmental, closed-minded, blah, blah, blah.
Right, I see your point.
Take somebody who we like and say, maybe I'm against that sort of thing, Just for variety's sake, Now, that said, Nick Fury, let's be honest, he is a wouldn't care person.
Right.
He cares about protecting people. He cares about the bad guys versus, you're on this side, I'm on this side. Gay marriage doesn't matter,
Right.
He wouldn't worry about it. Let's see here. Now, and of course, that's that's more about this. That discussion goes more to the character of Captain America. What would his opinion have been? Ultimately, I don't think he'll ever really have time for that kind of discussion.
See, one thing that we need to bring up that we haven't brought up yet. Yeah. This is to me one of the biggest things in the movie: the Falcon.
Oh, he was awesome.
He stole every scene he was in. He was just... okay. How can I say this without sounding like a real douchebag?
Probably can't.
Considering everything we've said so far, go ahead.
There's not a lot of actors of his skin tone that can do a good superhero movie, but Anthony Mackie made a really good superhero.
He did.
I was very impressed with his acting in this.
Considering what we've seen in the past with movies like Steel,
Blank Man,
Meteor Man,
Hancock.
You know what? I can't argue with that. What you just said, that is true. We've seen so many.
Anthony Mackie, he stole the show. You liked his character. He was he was almost on the same ethical wavelength as Captain America.
Right. He was past soldier. He was
helping people in AA or whatever that was.
No, that was a post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was something like that. I couldn't tell what it was.
I think at first it looks like an alcoholism. It has the same format and everything. But these are just, all they are soldiers coming back and having a really tough time readjusting to the life, because it's like you can't just forget what you came from.
Right. Okay.
And so he's really trying to help them get their lives back on order. And he's all about, helping people, making a difference. And Steve, at this point, he gets in that lost mode where he's not really sure what he should be doing. He thought he could just go back to being a soldier. But now it's not the same. The soldier he was back in World War II, back in World War II, we were on the losing end. And then, I think the turning point came before America came in. We just helped, push that turning point over. But that said, it was a real rough battle with Hitler and everything, Well, Nazis
the turning point was when Hitler decided to start invading everybody. Because he spread his army suit then.
Right, he went
now he's fighting the Russians on one side, the French on one side, the English on one side, the Americans on one side.
Yeah.
He just didn't have the army to do it. That's what the turning point of World War II was.
Right, a war on two fronts.
One thing I found funny in this is that we were introduced to a character, but I didn't even realize who she was until the second view. I saw this movie twice, and it wasn't until the second viewing that I realized who Agent 13 was.
All I know about her right now is she's just a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. What else is there about her?
From what I remember from the Captain America comic books, they are actually she's Steve's love interest.
Oh, I will believe that.
Is that Sharon Carter? Because I know he's with Sharon Carter in the Captain America comics, which I believe is Peggy Carter's great aunt or great niece.
Maybe, I'm not exactly sure.
Because the new Captain America comics start off with Peggy Carter's funeral. And Captain America's there with Sharon.
I mean, they may switch it up for the movie.
Yeah, they did do that movie, but yeah, I kind of got the impression that was her.
Considering how long he's been around, and the different love interests he's had, I think I've never known him to be with Black Widow. Black Widow gets around in the comic book. She's been with Daredevil, I think Hawkeye.
Black Widow and Hawkeye are, at least from the movie standpoint, just like brother-sister. They're,
that's what I thought too. But remember, one thing they were mentioning in the IMDb trivia section was that she had the arrow on her necklace.
As a memory,
as kind of a keepsake from her partner.
That's an interesting point.
They said the way they said in IMDb, I guess partner/lover, but not partner as in lovers, partners as in business or soldiers. That's not the word they use. I forget the actual word, but partner/lover, occasional lover, on and off lover. They said, and it's like I never knew them to be an item. As a matter of fact, if you watch the cartoon Avengers that they made, the Hawkeye was always trying to kill Black Widow.
And what's funny is that, I mean, if they were an item, it's like, why not have just like one line about, when she picks up Steve in the first scenes, have him like hold her necklace and go, oh, how's he doing? Or something like that, so we know.
Oh, I don't know. I think you should tease it.
That's just it. It's like everyone's wondering where the heck Hawkeye was,
Yeah.
But
no, that's true.
Because I always got the impression that they were strictly business partners in a way, that they weren't.
So did I. And I didn't even notice the necklace. I mean, I saw her with a necklace, but I didn't notice it was an arrow or anything. I just thought it was jewelry. I never noticed
the necklace,
but... they did a much better job with her. At least they're giving her bracelets now something to do, as opposed to just look like expensive jewelry and stuff. Do you think people are talking left and right about giving Black Widow her own movie?
It could happen.
It will be historic when DC or Marvel, whoever can make the first female superhero movie, standalone movie, it will be historic because people have been talking about it for a long time.
Actually, a Black Widow movie.
Absolutely. I mean, we've already seen the character enough. Why not? We love her. She's one of my favorite characters in this movie.
The only way it would really work.
She's the comic relief.
The only way it would really work is if it was Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yeah. And she wants it too.
Because the funny thing is how many times have we seen this where we want to see a character on screen, but for a movie, they change the actor.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what usually kills it.
Well, and you know what? We've talked about this in my earlier post about the top 5 concerns facing superhero movies. The biggest one is altering the characters, And you know what? Let me tell you something. We've said this before, and we're going to say it again. When you alter the character, just alter the character. Don't make a big deal about it. Don't make any jokes. Okay, we've heard them all. If you're going to turn Channing Tatum into the new Wolverine, let us know. Okay, just don't make a big deal about it. Don't be like, hey, I look different today. We don't need jokes like that anymore.
Sometimes they can be funny.
Sometimes. But we've seen Iron Man 2. We've seen The Spy Who Loved Me. I don't know what other movies he would have done that for, but enough is enough. Enough is enough. That's all I'm trying to say.
But let's talk about one of the biggest spoilers of this movie: the after the credits scene.
Ah, okay. Which one?
The one with Baron von Strucker.
I feel so ashamed. I didn't recognize him.
Neither did I. Only because I'm so used to seeing him in how he looks in the comic book.
Yeah.
But because he talks about the twins, and of course, who are the twins?
It's Quicksilver and
Scarlet Witch,
yeah.
Played by Aaron Johnson.
And Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, Aaron Johnson, who you remember from the movie Kick-Ass. What was his name in that? Oh, yeah, Kick-Ass.
Yeah. Actually, that wasn't his. That was his superhero.
Well,
not his superhero name, his hero name.
Yes.
There's nothing super about him.
True. And then Elizabeth Olsen, who...
Godzilla. Marie. Silent House.
For movies that people have actually seen. Okay.
She hasn't made a lot of movies yet.
Mary-Kate and Ashley's sister.
Okay, let's get away from that now.
Some of us made the mistake of seeing the movie Old Boy, and that's how I...
Oh, Old Boy.
Yeah, you don't see that movie.
I'll put that on my to-do list.
I gotta see. Actually,
Joe, do not see that movie.
But you know what? I like that. You know, in Captain America, there's a teaser to X-Men: Days of Future Past. In Spider-Man, there's going to be that also.
From my understanding, it's going to be an after the credits scene where they hint at it some way, only because I guess the director, made some sort of deal because he flubbed something up in an interview or something like that, and so to fix it, he said, okay, we'll do this.
Okay. But you know what? It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that hard. This is all Marvel. It should all be under one roof. If you're in New York, you should have someone...
Well, remember, when they say that it's going to have something for X-Men, it could be something as simple as, oh yeah, I know this guy who's going to a school for gifted youngsters. Right. And they could leave it at that.
I think there's actually going to be actual characters showing up. That's what I'm hearing.
Right.
We will see. Unfortunately, we're not hearing good reviews about Spider-Man. They're just putting out...
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's either way, it's acceptable.
Either way.
But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it comes out in a week, and I'm hearing nothing but bad reviews on it. They're comparing it to Batman and Robin.
Oh, I hope it's not that bad. No, please.
I mean, granted, I'm still going to see it, because I haven't done a movie review in 2 weeks.
And not a lot of movies to see.
So, yeah, I know. Even this summer seems pretty dry for movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, you can see all my movie reviews at unleashtherobots.com. Other than that, I really don't know what else to say about Captain America Winter Soldier except go see it.
It was great, wasn't it?
It was.
Didn't you?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. This is a must-see.
Yeah, my only complaint with the movie is some of the fight sequences seem very, like shaky cam, like the Bourne movies.
Oh, I know. Yep.
But apart from that, that's just a very minor complaint. I mean, it ties in well with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think that they did a ballsy thing by, having a movie go on at the same time as a TV series.
Yeah. Well, the connection is a big thing in comic books, That's why I get so upset that, all these big franchises too, not little franchises, but big franchises are with somebody else, so you can't bring them in if you want to, because let's face it, we've all seen the old comic books and the old TV shows where, like, Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Peter Parker gets framed for a crime he didn't commit, so guess who comes to his aid?
Daredevil.
Matt Murdock. And we don't see him as Daredevil.
That wasn't his Amazing Friends, I don't think, though. That was actually the 92 series.
It was both, actually.
It would be nice if they did, like, just a little one-shot Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends movie.
I would love that.
Oh, exactly. Even if it was just a one-shot. Who wouldn't want to see someone dressed as Firestar?
Yes.
Be honest.
Firestar, Iceman. They're bringing back the Ice Slide now. Might as well bring it back for the movie.
There you go.
And because they had a lot of great things going on in that show. It was a very well done show.
Yeah.
You know what? It would be awesome to see again. Video Man.
I can't really see that work in live action.
That was old school 80s. Yeah, and for the nostalgia of it, Video Man would be great. Or, but yeah, just give us a nice, simple movie. Stop worrying about all these connections and continuity. And
going back to Captain America: Winter Soldier, my other minor complaint is that we were introduced to Batroc and Crossbones, but we weren't introduced to them very well.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
They only mentioned Batroc's name once.
Okay.
And remember when they were on the ship, the person that had the one-on-one fight with Captain America? Okay. That was allegedly Crossbones, and I don't think they ever referred to him by name.
Yeah, I remember Crossbones was in there.
Yeah,
I like Crossbones.
Now, Crossbones is a villain, right?
Yeah.
Because there was that guy who, at the beginning of the movie, the guy, Captain America jumps out, one guy goes, did he jump out without a parachute? The guy goes, yeah. Did he have a parachute? He's like, no, he doesn't have a parachute. And I actually like that guy. I was hoping that he would not be the person who turns against Captain America, but then again, he was always against him. He's Hydra,
Yeah.
The one thing I wish they would have explained a little bit better, I did get it, but I wasn't really sure 100% what was going on. When S.H.I.E.L.D., the first mission, the fact that Nick Fury hired this pirate to capture one of his own ships. And he did it because the S.H.I.E.L.D. ship was involved in arms trade, illegal arms trade for Hydra. Is that right? That's what happened?
See, I was kind of confused about the whole ship part.
Yeah, what it meant and all that.
Allegedly, they've been planning this whole Hydra thing for a while. Do you remember in Iron Man 2?
Iron Man 2?
When the Senator asked for the Iron Man suit back.
Oh, yes, because it was the Senator from Captain America who's a bad guy.
Yeah, he wanted it for Hydra.
Oh, you know what? I never connected the two.
Neither did I.
Oh, how did you? You just said it.
I read on the message board or something like that, and I'm here. It's like, oh yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah. I mean, when you get those kind of connections, yes, I'll give you that to you. That's cool.
Well, part of the thing is, I think at some point I don't want to say made it up as they went along, but I'm thinking that they're kind of. I think they put the scene with the Senator in Captain America: Winter Soldier to retrograde back to Iron Man 2.
Okay.
In all honesty, I don't personally believe that they've had this plan from the start.
No. You make changes as you go, you know?
But yeah, it's like you can kind of tell that they kind of did that to go back to Iron Man 2.
Right. You know, I mean, let's face it. Another famous example of that is Agent Coulson. You know? Joss Whedon, you know, he likes to kill off these characters every once in a while, and Agent Coulson was expendable. He wanted to kill him off, but he was such a popular character that the fans rallied, and so they had to bring him back. Then they had to give some excuse of how he came back, and something that would still make everybody happy and keep him. Yeah. Have we heard, did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. get renewed or not? It's getting
not
so.
I do believe that this coming Tuesday is the season finale, and allegedly there's going to be a small appearance by Nick Fury.
Ah, very cool.
And of course, Agent Maria Hill.
You know, I would love it if Agent Maria Hill was a regular on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That would be interesting.
Colby
Smulders.
She's just hot for me. I just love her.
She's okay.
I never got into How I Met Your Mother. Never really cared for it. Watched a few episodes, but, you know, it was just one of those things that was easily missed.
But I will say, for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they need to up their game a little bit. They need to give us something. Granted, they're tying it with Captain America: Winter Soldier, and you know, but they need to do more. We need to have either more guest stars or.
Because you know who they need to learn from? Who actually is doing gangbusters right now? Arrow.
I keep hearing about that. I still have yet to see that.
I'm going to start watching Arrow soon and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I got to start getting the DVD. I really want to get into Arrow because Arrow's going to spin off into The Flash.
Yes. See, this is the funny thing. When it comes to movies, there's no doubt Marvel rules. When it comes to television, it's hard to say. Yes, we could say DC rules, but they're on the CW.
But
I think that's part of the reason why I don't watch it.
But they're putting really good stuff out.
They're doing some very good stuff.
Smallville was phenomenal. Went for 10 seasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Granted, I was not really thrilled with the way it ended.
Yes, exactly.
Because I was told he was not going to be putting the suit on and flying. But.
Well, I haven't seen the ending yet, so don't say anything. We're not going to spoil Smallville for you. He died at the end. I'm just kidding. But no, Captain America, here's my ultimate question. Can they really keep this up? Can they really stay this good? And is it wrong for me to say that I really do hope Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and any other franchise that's outside of Marvel Disney right now, that they suck? Because I want them brought home. And people say, look, Sony, you had, because Spider-Man's with Sony now, right? Or is it something else?
Well,
let's just say Sony. Sony, you had your chance with Spider-Man, you blew it. Go back to Disney. Go back to Marvel.
See, here's my fear. Is that when it comes to superhero movies, in general, not always, the part 3s are usually the ones that suck. X-Men 3. Iron Man 3.
I love Iron Man 3.
Proof that it sucks. But anyway.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I know. It made perfect sense. You guys just didn't appreciate where they went, which I understand. I understand why you guys did not appreciate the way they went to go, but they really took a risk.
The thing is, I think ultimately with Captain America: Winter Soldier, I think we've peaked.
Oh, I hope not.
I think this part 2 is probably the best out of.
Yeah, I don't know if they're.
I don't see what else they could do for part 3 to make it better than this movie.
All I know is for 3 they need to keep Falcon in there.
Definitely.
keep the partnership between him and Steve Rogers together.
Yeah.
Because those two were really good. Even the parts where Falcon was somewhere else. Remember when he was running from the helicarrier at the end of the movie?
Yeah.
And he tells Nick Fury which floor he's on. He jumps out the window. I love that part. He's like, 41st floor! So here comes Fury in the helicopter. He jumps out the window. Fury's like a couple floors below him. He turns the helicopter, catches him at the side. He yells up to Fury, like, I said 41st floor. He's like, and Fury's just like they put the numbers on the outside of the building. That was classic.
Well, that's what this movie had, though. This movie was pure classic moments. Like, the one thing, they got me with so many things, okay? They got me with Nick Fury shows, Robert Redford pulls the gun on them, right? Then that one old lady starts beating him up. And it turns out the old lady wasn't who we thought she was. It turns out to be Black Widow.
Oh, spoil the movie. No,
we already warned you that there'd be spoilers. Oh, and then it turns out that Robert Redford's character had bombs on everybody.
The pins.
Right.
The pins, yeah. And then Black Widow had the little device that shocked you that short-circuited it.
Yeah.
But I will say that for some reason I'm noticing this is that ever since the Avengers, seems that the Black Widow always seems to have like this, what I call a classic action shot. In the Avengers, remember when the Hulk was chasing her through that? Like,
yeah.
That was, oh my gosh, I was on the edge of my seat during that.
Yes.
And with Captain America Winter Soldier, it was, I think, when she was on the boat with Captain America and she went down the zip line, and you just saw the camera looking up at her, and she was just coming down and shooting as she was sliding down the rope. Two classic action shots.
Well, the best things about this movie are, one, it had an awesome story and a good mystery because you knew Captain America had a mission from Nick Fury wanted him to do, but nobody knew what it was, you know? And one of the favorite things is Captain America sees the vending machine. So he puts the stuff behind bubble gum, right? And then he comes back to get it, and it's all gone. And who comes up right behind him?
Black Widow.
And what is she doing?
She's holding the thing.
No. She's chewing and popping the bubble gum.
I never even realized that.
That was just, I mean, she made this movie. She helped make this movie.
I am slightly disappointed that one of the predictions I had for this movie did not come true.
And what was that?
Is that I thought Alexander Pierce was going to turn out to be Red Skull.
Interesting.
I was expecting a scene at the very end where we see, Alexander Pierce smoking a cigarette with the
holders?
Yeah, with the holder, and then have him going, oh, you don't know who I really am, do you? And then, go rip off his face to reveal a Red Skull. To me, that would have upped the ante for this movie, and I would have declared it one of the best superhero movies of all time.
You know who ruined that for you, don't you?
Robert Redford.
No.
Oh.
Thor 2. This is a spoiler for Thor 2. They did something like that with Loki.
Well, yeah.
You know what? I do hope they do something like that, because the one thing that would be I would be concerned about is that when they bring back the Red Skull, they explain everything from the beginning. They're like, okay, we're going to open up this portal and pull out this Red Skull, right? And instead, let's bring him back. Let's just give us a mystery. How did he come back? What happened to him during all that time he was gone? What really would be awesome, since the Red Skull's been gone for so long, is if you match the Red Skull up with the Secret Wars. Because didn't the Red Skull have part of the planet? Like, he controlled a faction of it? So Red Skull, when he touches the Tesseract, he gets transported to this world. He begins to take it over. He begins to conquer it. There's a small faction willing to fight him, but Captain America, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Avengers.
I think you're mixing up storylines a little bit.
Am I?
I think a little bit.
No, Okay, you know what it was. Doctor Doom was the one who mainly was in charge of the Secret Wars, but in a cartoon version of it. Dr. Octopus, the Mandarin, and Red Skull were brought in. So I'm talking about Secret Wars, the animated.
There are theories that the Red Skull is actually going to be side by side with Thanos in the third Avengers movie.
I would accept that. That'd be awesome.
And so
that'd be awesome.
But we do need to get some hint of what he's doing right now, you know?
I know.
I don't care if it just shows a distant moon planet and Red Skull is just sitting there going, how the hell do I get off this thing? You know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that as long as we see him.
Well,
although, from what I understand,
we have to remember him.
Although Hugo Weaving, from what I'm told, is not going to reprise his role as Red Skull. But that's the good thing. If you're Red Skull, you have Red Skull.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't have to worry about the face anymore. He took off the mask, and you know what you can do now? You can do what you said. Put a different mask on over him, and have him shape his face differently, you know, and then be able to pull it off. Yeah. No. Exactly. That would be awesome. Favorite moments in this, besides, you know, the fact that they could always catch you off guard in this show. With, you know, who was who and what was what. I am mad at Robert Redford. If he did not reveal that he was the villain, I would never have figured it out. Because I liked what Nick
I thought it was rather obvious from the get-go.
Well, it was because he gave it away. And, of course, he's the politician, you know, white guy politician. I was hoping maybe for once the white guy politician was not the villain, just once. But, no, I guess not. That said, Nick Fury had one of the best things to say about him. He said that, you know, this was a guy who turned down the Nobel Peace Prize because he says working for peace is not an honor, it's a responsibility. You know, it's like, you know, the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm just gonna call it the Nobel from now on. The Nobel is like trying to give an award out to good driving. You know, you shouldn't have to give somebody an award just because they were a good driver.
Tell that to Amica Auto Insurance. And
No, that's a business. They need to make money. But the ships, you know, one thing that got me about the ships is that, granted, they all took off from S.H.I.E.L.D., you know. One thing I thought was very sad, you saw some very brave people die, because the worst part was everyone was pulling out their guns all of a sudden, and S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't know who to trust anymore. So they're starting to wonder who's up. When they started to open up the hangars, you could tell there was another good S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who was running toward the control panel saying, close the hangars, and he got shot down. You know, not that it probably would have worked, because, well, no, those were S.H.I.E.L.D. guys in there too. You know how you know? Because the Hydra people shot him to death. So you saw some good people getting killed, but it was hard to tell who's who and, you know, who do you trust. And that's what this really comes down to. Ultimately, how do you really know who to trust?
Well, I will say, if you're on an elevator and 20 people get on the elevator, that's when you start making sure none of them are sweating or putting their hands on their weapons.
Yeah.
That was also a good part.
Because they're bringing in one of Captain America's powers that people don't realize. He's hyper-aware. That's why he's able to throw his shield and it could bounce any way he wants.
See, the thing about that elevator scene is that at what point did he know that he was going to be attacked?
Every floor, I think he got a little more aware of it.
Yeah.
He first starts off and he's like, notices something's out of place. Next floor, more people get on. Nobody gets off.
Yeah.
A little bit more out of place.
Yeah.
The next floor, more people get on. And he starts noticing, you got guys sweating. You got the hand on the weapon.
Yeah.
I saw the sweating. I saw the hand on the weapon.
Right.
And
then finally he realized something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave him a fair chance. He said, before we get started, so when we get out.
I wish he would have done that when the door was open. You know, I get that he did it. You know, it's like, you know, before we get started, does anyone want to get out now? And that's when I wish one guy would have left. Because, like he said, I didn't know he was Crossbones. I just thought he was a Hydra agent. You know,
it's one of those things where one thing that I would love to see, and I've only seen this in one other movie, is the smart henchman.
Yes.
Did you ever see the movie Machete?
The first one or second one?
First.
First one, yes. And second one, too. Hated the second one.
I actually liked the second one, but first one was best, hands down. But remember when he went to, I think it was Robert De Niro's house, and he had all these bodyguards around, or people that are on the grounds?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And he kills every one of them, and he's down to, like, the last henchman. And the last henchman goes, I give up, and then drops his gun to the ground and just slowly walks away.
Yes!
I would have loved it if they did something like that in Captain America.
Well, yeah, remember, though, that's a little bit different here. This is Hydra you're talking about. They are obsessive.
Right.
Yeah, fanatical.
Well, I just love little humorous things like that, you know?
Because what's
in action movies, you got to have a little bit of humor.
Because what's their slogan?
Hail Hydra.
No, cut the head off one, 2 more grow back.
Exactly. So you're not worried about sacrificing your life. 2 more will come and avenge you. So that's Hydra for you. And I'm glad that it's about darn time we got back to the super secret organization. You know? That's what I was hoping for. When I saw Casino Royale, it took me a while to get used to it, but I liked it in the end. Then came the second one. The second one really got me home because they talked about Quantum. And I thought Quantum would just be a front for Spectra. Bring back Spectra, you know? Spectre. What are you talking about? Spectre. And
I'm just letting you
Blofeld.
Your own speech here. So.
Yeah, Blofeld. And, you know, they were going to bring back Q. And then came the third one, which was Skyfall. And it was a huge disappointment. Because it was just another basic mission against a guy who just wanted to get revenge off of M. That's it.
Skyfall I had no real problem with, except for the
it's too long.
Stabbing scene at the end was very, very...
overdrawn?
Not overdrawn, just very lackluster, I guess.
Right.
Anticlimactic.
It ended very anticlimactically. They had some really good parts. They brought in some Bond gadgets. They brought back the old... His old car, the Aston Martin.
We're getting away from Captain America here. But
well, the point is, they're doing it right. They're bringing back this super secret, super powerful organizations.
I would probably put this as my second favorite superhero movie.
What's your number 1?
X-Men 2.
X-Men 2.
Only because I have a heart for Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler is just awesome.
This one I do want to see. It definitely goes up there for me. Also great. It's definitely one of the greats already. The first Batman with Michael Keaton, Spider-Man 2, and the like. It's just one of those awesome ones that was very well done. It could have gone south really easily, you know, when you think about it. But they just did an awesome job all around. If you haven't seen it yet, and I pretty much doubt you haven't, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this.
I think one of my biggest pet peeves with this one, or so that I didn't like, was it seemed that the only thing you needed to get out of a bad situation was a little torch. Because remember,
yes, those
Nick
torches.
Fury and Maria Hill, and when they captured the good guys, both times they escaped by cutting a hole straight into the earth.
I did.
I was like,
that was a little bit of a cheat, but
yeah, I wish they had done a little something else. I mean, the first time I didn't mind it, but then when they did it a second
Nick Fury
time,
completely surrounded.
Yeah,
you know, it's
yeah,
like
so were they. They were completely. You know, it's so funny to think that the car taking them out to the middle of nowhere to get buried would be right on top of a manhole / sewer line. You know.
yeah.
So I'll give you that, but I mean, you know, it's a superhero movie. You got to allow for stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the movie as a whole is really good, so I can forgive that.
Any other pet peeves? I mean, we've been praising this movie to death. To be honest, I personally found it flawless. I really couldn't find a lot to complain about. You know,
like I said, I've pretty much voiced my complaints. I mean, like I said, my complaints are very, very small.
Right.
Yeah, mine too.
I mean, it was very well done. I still hope that they can keep up the magic with Captain America 3. We all do, of course. That's what we want in sequels. We want something better, you know?
Well, they're going to have to step their game up because Captain America 3 is coming out with Batman Superman.
Yes, and you know what? Batman Superman recently announced Cyborg, and I think they finally found one person, or the second person, in that movie that no one's going to complain about. Because I don't know, I forget who the guy's name is, but he fits the part, looks the part, all good. But you know, there's been backlash against Ben Affleck, backlash against what's her name again? I can never pronounce it.
Gal Gadot.
Yep, her too. And of course, my personal backlash is against the guy they're doing Lex Luthor.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah. It's like you've got to be kidding me.
I don't think it's going to work. I think Captain America 3 is going to take it without doubt.
I do too.
Oh, believe me, I'll be buying tickets for myself and other people to see Captain America 3.
I mean, I'm DC over Marvel, but yet I plan on seeing Captain America 3 before I see Batman Superman. That's how bad I think this is.
I have no interest in seeing Batman Superman.
I will see it because it's a DC movie and it's a superhero thing.
I can't wrap my head around the bad casting choices.
Well, for me, there's the casting choices, and ultimately, it's also the director. I am not approving of his choices, of what he wants to go. Like remember how he described Batman recently? He's like, Batman will be shown as weary and tired. Yes, that's how I want my superhero, weary and tired. But also, let's face it, it's right now it's still called Batman Superman. Batman versus Superman. But you've got your Batman, you got your Superman, you got your Wonder Woman, you got your Cyborg. Can we please just call it Justice League now? You know it's going to be Justice League in 2 years.
They got to give you an Aquaman.
What's that? Well, Aquaman, Green
Aquaman sucks.
Yeah, sure. Flash, Aquaman, Green Lantern. But if you're going to add more heroes against one...
Chris Pine is Aquaman.
Yeah, against
that
one
could
villain,
work, actually.
I know. That's
he was supposed to be.
It was the first one that came to mind, and I'm here like, yeah, I can see that working.
Remember, they were working on this Flash
Evans.
movie, but that fell apart, and Chris Pine was supposed to be the Flash. But it didn't work out. So, but that happens. Well, that's it. Well, I guess that's it. Anything else to say about Captain America, Winter Soldier?
Go see it.
Yeah,
everything else. Just see it. Yeah, if you're with us, you've probably already seen it. You know what? Also, keep your eyes out on Facebook. The new number 2 podcast is starting up here real soon, where they'll be talking about the Prisoner TV show, the new one with Jim Caviezel.
No, we're not talking about the one with Jim Caviezel
In the desert.
No, it's basically a discussion about the British TV series from 1967 called The Prisoner. If you haven't heard of it, look at it. Check it out on IMDb. The episodes can be seen on YouTube, to my understanding. But check out the Facebook page. It should have the order in which I'm going to do the podcast episodes. I am currently working on an introduction for each episode. So just keep your eyes out. It's at facebook.com/new2podcast.
Very cool. All right, guys, this is for today. We'll see you at the theaters.
Take it easy.
Be seeing you.